Hey y'all, it's Christy Cook from Teadoddles. It is time for the very first challenge in the Happy Scrappy Yarn Challenge. Woo! Are y'all super excited? I'm excited. Um, it's January, so it's my turn to issue the challenge. I'm doing this with Crochet Creations by Christy. She will be doing next month's challenge, and we'll be going back and forth just like that all year long, and whoever does the challenge for the month will also be the one giving away the prize. So let's I'm so excited about this. I lost my train of thought for a minute. So this month's challenge, I'm doing a blog post to go along with this video. I'm hoping they'll both come up simultaneously, but we shall see, because this is Thursday afternoon already and I'm just now getting to record this. I had to finish up a few things before I could even do my recording for the challenge. So this challenge is all about trying to use up your yarn scraps, okay? We all have them. You have leftover stuff from other projects. Most yarn lovers can't get rid of that. They need to save it for something, and you don't always know what. It's also for those skeins of yarn we have. Maybe it's a skein left over from a project. You just got one left, and now you need to do something with that one skein. Or maybe it's something you bought just because you wanted to try it out, and now you don't know what to do with it. So if you love yarn, this challenge is for you. It is for crocheters, knitters, loomers, weavers. I've even got, in this month's challenge, I've got a crafty use for your yarn leftovers that doesn't really involve any of those. So if you love yarn and you have lots of yarn that you want to try to bust through, then this challenge is for you. I have, in the blog post, you will find a list of ideas, pattern ideas from various places. I even have some patterns of my own that I've shared in there for this challenge. You do not have to use the patterns that I suggest in the blog post. I will link the blog post down below so you can go check them all out. The only real requirement is that you use scraps of some kind in your project, or one skein that you have laying around. You can combine the two, or just utilize your scraps with some other things you have. That you must have scraps or a one skein type of thing in your project, and it must match the challenge for the month. Whatever that challenge is, whatever the theme of the month is, your project must go along with that theme. And if you have any questions about whether or not your project fits the theme, please ask. You can email me down below. I'll be linking to Christy's channel, and I'm sure she has an email or Facebook link or messenger or something we can ask. And the Facebook group is a good place to ask. We do have a Facebook group together for the challenges, which will also be linked down below. So one thing I wanted to talk about, I saw a post in the Facebook group about someone making scrappy yarn cakes, which is awesome. I have a few scrappy yarn cakes I'm going to show you, and I'm also going to link down below. I know I did a blog post about making scrappy yarn cakes. I can't remember if I did a video to go along with it or not. I think it was just a blog post. So I will link that down below if you want to check it out. Something that I do when I make yarn cakes is try to group them by similar things, right? This particular cake here is all homespun yarn that I had left over from various projects I've done. It's not homespun. What am I talking about? Heartland. Sorry. This is Heartland yarn, not homespun. What is that on there? Looks like dog fur. These stay out in the open more than my other yarn because they're for me. But this is all Heartland yarn that I had various scraps of, and I just went through and I do what's called a magic knot, or what have I heard it called? The Russian join before. So it's a way to knot things together. And I believe I found that tutorial on the Secret Yarnery, but I'll try to remember and link down below to that if you're not familiar with that. It doesn't come apart, and it's an easy way to join your yarn together. What I would do is start winding some on I have a ball winder, and then join, and then keep winding, and then join as I go. That's what I would do when I make these cakes. It's easier to store them this way, and when you get ready to do a project, it's much easier to work from them this way. I've shown y'all before my chunky weight yarn Afghan I've started, corner to corner Afghan. I didn't bring it up here with me today, but I've shown you that before. And sometimes I do it by theme. Some of these yarn weights, they're all listed as the same yarn weight, but that orange looks much thicker to me. But I put these together because they remind me of Halloween. And I don't even know if I have enough in here to really do anything with, but maybe a scarf or something. I don't know. But that's why I put these together. And these were, this is a combination of Heartland and Karen Simply Soft yarns. There's some darker color in there, and this is like just 3 colors really in this one. This is a combination also of various yarns. I don't even remember what all's in here, but got a lot of different colors going on with that blue sparkly stuff on the outside. The only thing I try to do when I make these cakes is just make sure the yarn is the same weight. That works best when you're trying to make a scrap project. And then a lot of times, like this particular one is leftovers from one of my Jimmy Bean's wool clubs. So I'll put a little tag on it so I remember where it came from if I want to. It's just a piece of paper I folded in half and stapled around the yarn. That's my tag. So, and then I have this yarn cake, which is going to pertain more to this month's theme or challenge. These are all leftover comfy sport yarns from Knit Picks, which is mostly cotton, a little bit acrylic, but it's a good yarn for this month's challenge. So this month's challenge or theme is spa, a day at the spa. I know at the beginning of the year, it was funny when Christy and I were talking about this. What she thought of when she thought of January was, what did she say? White and cold. I don't think of that in January because it's not white here because it doesn't snow here very frequently. Occasionally we get snow, like every 5 years or so, and it's just enough to coat everything. It's chilly outside. It's got the wind's blowing, but it was 70 degrees today, so the temperature starts dropping. And we did have a frost this morning, but you see I'm wearing a t-shirt, so I would probably put a lightweight jacket on if I went outside because of the wind, but it's not really cold here. Sometimes it's colder than others, but that's not something I usually associate with January. Anyway, I associate January with renewal. A lot of people are setting goals for the year or thinking of starting over, starting afresh because it's a brand new year. And most of us could use a spa day about this time of year because after all the festivities and things, you just need to refresh yourself, right? So for a spa day, you would think of washcloths. There's little face poofs. I have a pattern in the blog post for some crocheted flip-flops, which would be perfect if you give yourself a pedicure to walk around the house so your toes stay pretty. Let's see, what else did I have in there? The soap bags. I put several things I found for kits or spa sets, which included a basket pattern. A basket is a crocheted basket is a wonderful thing to make with scrap yarn. Let's get straight. We're talking about the yarn, not the fabric today. Because you can join two together. Something that I mentioned in the post is that you could make a scrap cake and maybe combine that with a single skein of a solid color to make an interesting yarn to use for a basket. I think that would be fun. As a matter of fact, this is what I'm going to use to make me a basket. Is this, because it's a scrap cake I already have together. I have a pattern on the blog, which is listed in that blog post, for this face cloth. I made this last year. I also did a video about learning how to do this bobble stitch because someone was telling me they had trouble with it. The pattern does have a little loop included if you wanted to put one on there. I didn't put one on this one. But this is made out of that Comfy Sport weight from Knit Picks. They no longer have that yarn. They have something called Shine Sport, which is slightly different. It does have Pima cotton in it, but it's not as much compared to the modal it has in it. It has modal cotton. Why do I feel like my face is blurry? Okay. Modal cotton, not modal. Modal is made from beechwood. Is that right? It is a natural fiber. Modal is, if you get a knit shirt that's modal, it's usually super drapey and nice feeling. So I'm not sure how well it would translate. It is washable and dryable, so you possibly could make these out of it. But for most of these projects in this month's challenge, you're going to be looking to that cotton stash. Either 100% cotton or cotton blends. This is 80% Pima cotton and 20% acrylic. I believe that's correct. I don't have my tag with me, but it's still good for things like this. It's very soft, so it's nice against the face. I call this a face cloth because it's just right for washing your face with, and it's got this little texture, which is nice and scrubbly. Now, in the blog post, I mentioned that next week on the blog, next Monday, I will have a pattern for a matching soap sack. I can't talk today. The other side is more of a mesh, but this has got the bumplies on it, and it's just got this little drawstring like soap sacks do. Now this is made as one piece, so in the pattern you will crochet in rows, which include this, and then fold it in half. And I use a single crochet to close it for more strength, which is on the inside. And then we just crochet a little drawstring. So that pattern will be on the blog Monday. I've got to get it written up. This pattern is already on the blog, and there are links in the blog post about the Happy Scrappy Yarn Challenge. Oh, my words are leaving me. And then I will also include it in the post with the soap sack. I'm making a pattern for a matching washcloth, like a bigger, much bigger than this little face one. It does have the bobbles, but it's intermixed with just the crisscross double crochet. It's kind of like X's and O's for Valentine's Day, right? Which is next month. And in this one, I wanted to say a skein of Knit Picks Comfy Cotton is like, hold on just one second. Okay, I had it laying over there. I don't know why I didn't bring it with me. So it's fairly small. This is a number 2 weight yarn. There's 136 yards. It's a 50 gram skein. So it's a pretty small skein of yarn. I was able to make this and about halfway of my washcloth. So I had a partial skein of this color, which I don't remember what color it is because I don't have the label apparently anymore. So I'll be finishing this up with this skein And then I'll do the edging in this color as well. So I just wanted to show you how the scraps are coming into play, and then my one skein is coming into play. Now technically I have another skein and another partial of this for some reason, which I find very odd. I'm not sure why I had two partial skeins of this color, but I do. So I will be making two sets, which will be awesome for a gift. Now, this right here, it does have some pink in it, but it's mostly gray and some other colors. But I think that looks very springy. And if I make a little basket to tuck some stuff in, it'll make a nice little gift. Maybe for Mother's Day, or maybe I'll save it for Christmas. I don't know. But that's another great thing about this challenge. You're going to use up some scraps, and then you'll have some gifts to give whenever you want to. So yeah, this is how I'm using my scraps. To make things coordinate, like I mentioned before, you could use the scraps along with a plain color to make things coordinate. So if you wanted to make a whole set, you're not required to make a whole set. You can make just a face cloth and post a picture of it, and you'll be entered to win the prize, as long as it fits the theme of the month. Some other things, so the crafty thing that was in that blog post was, I found a blog post where she had made these little bins to organize her bathroom, and she'd used yarn to write letters on the front. So like hair, so her hair supplies went in there, things like that. I thought that was really neat. A great way to use leftovers without actually crocheting or knitting or looming. I do have patterns in there for knitters, and I have patterns in there for loomers. I did my best to try to find patterns for multiple crafty endeavors. But that's a craft endeavor that doesn't require you know how to do either of those. You can just use your leftover yarn to write letters on a basket, to store things in the bathroom or what have you, like that. I just thought that was a neat idea. And even though I said this is mostly cotton stash, the slippers or the flip-flop pattern I put in there does not have to be cotton. That can be, it's a bulky weight pattern actually, and I have some yarn that I'm going to use to try to make me a pair of those, because they looked like they would be nice to have around the house. So after you do your little foot thing or whatever, if I paint, I do not ever paint my fingernails, but I do paint my toes. Haven't in a long time though, and I need to do that, because fingernails, they're gonna get chipped. I don't care what I do. Plus my fingernails never grow very long. They kind of get in my way if they get too long. I haven't ever been able to grow them that long in the first place. But because I make so much, they're just too long fingernails I don't like them. So anywho, so yeah, that is this month's challenge. Hopefully I didn't get too rambly. You can look for details you might have missed in this video in the blog post. Also, be sure to post your pictures in the Facebook group. That is where you need to post your pictures. Whatever you make this month, you have until the end of January to post pictures for this month's challenge. Like I said, you should be using scraps and 1 skeins of yarn. It's okay to incorporate things that maybe, like for example, I have more than one of these. I have 2, but I am incorporating my scraps in here too. So it's something like that. We're encouraging the use of the scraps in the 1 skeins, or leftovers. That's what we're trying to do. Use up all those leftovers. So I will post pictures of my makes at the end of the month as well, and I'm hoping that Christy does too. I'm sure she will. So this month's prize, I wanted to make sure that the prize was something that wasn't a 1 skein, so you didn't have to decide what to do with it as well. It's yarn, of course. I mean, this is a yarn, all about the yarn, right? So I have this 3-pack of this yarn. It's called Textures. I got this during one of those Line Brand dollar skein things or whatever it was. This is in the color Meadow Flowers. These are all the same colorway, even though this one looks different. It's just showing more of the other colors in the skein, but these are all the same colorway. This is in plastic that's never been opened, so you don't have to worry about dog fur on it for sure. This is 90% acrylic and 10% nylon. I had a pack of blue ones that I actually made a hat out of, and I quite enjoyed working with the yarn. Even though it's textured, I would compare it to homespun, except it's not as fluffy. It's a tighter weave, but it has that thread that runs through it, like that's the nylon, I'm assuming, and then it has the rest wound around that thread. It was still very nice to work with. It is a number 4 weight. There's 149 yards on each of these, so this should be plenty to make a scarf or cowl. They're showing this long kind of cowl pattern on the front. Maybe y'all can see that. I don't know. And I don't think that they make this anymore. I'm not completely sure, but I think that this is gone from Line Brand. So it's a vintage yarn too. Not really vintage, but you know what I mean. Yeah. So all you have to do to be entered to win, and I'll be throwing in some fun stitch markers and stuff like I normally do when I send these packages out. All you have to do is make some fun Scrappy makes that are related to a spa day. Now, in the patterns I listed, there are several different spa sets I found on different websites that were free patterns. I tried to only link to free patterns. Some had like the eye mask. Some had the face poofs, of course, and different kinds of washcloths and things like that. I'm trying to remember what all of them was. I don't even remember. But like I said, several of the ones that were sets had a little basket you could make to set all this stuff in, which I thought was really neat. It makes it a set that you could gift or just keep in there for your spa day. Like I said, I'm going to make me a basket out of this right here. Don't know if I'll use one of those patterns or if I'll make up my own thing. We'll see how it goes. And then what I'll probably do in each of these is give the challenge, talk about the prize, maybe give you some tips for those scraps you got hanging out, like making a scrap cake. You could also make a scrap ball if you don't have a ball winder. Either way works. Yeah. And like I said, I have some tips about the yarn in the blog post where you would mostly cottons. If you're doing dishcloths, I keep saying dishcloth, washcloths or anything like the face scrubbies or something, I suggest it be cotton or a high cotton blend. If you're doing things like the baskets or the things that go on your feet, the flip-flops, the things that go on your feet, or the little wordy yarny thing that I suggested in there, that could be anything really that you have in your stash, as long as it's for the foot one. I would make sure it's at least a soft yarn that would be comfortable to wear. Yeah, so if you have questions, please let me know down below, or in the Facebook group you can ask questions as well. We do ask that you only post pictures of things that pertain to the challenge in that group, because that's what the group is for, and it makes it easier when we have to pick a winner. So everybody's name will go into a random picker, and that's how the winner will be picked. Okay, so again, here's this month's prize, and this pattern is already on the blog, and I have a list of other patterns just for ideas. You don't have to make one of those patterns. It's just ideas to get you going. And I will have the pattern for this soap sack and this washcloth on the blog Monday, and it is going to be a free pattern. So, and it matches the little face cloth. Anything else? I think I said everything, but if I missed something, y'all, I'm sure y'all let me know if y'all have questions down below. I can't wait to see what y'all make. I'm looking forward to it. Oh, one more idea I had. The headband things. You know, I always use one to push back my hair if I'm doing a face mask or something. That could be something that's spa day related. Yeah. So I'm gonna let y'all go before I ramble on anymore, so I can go ahead and get this uploaded, and hopefully it won't be too late. So I hope y'all have a life lived creatively, and I will see y'all on Saturday for the next Teadoddles Talks podcast. Bye, y'all.